Michael Oliver has been selected to referee the North London derby this weekend, and Arsenal fans are not happy. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be centering around a big news story that is brewing in preparation for the resumption of club football, and especially the Premier League. This weekend throws us another round of exciting and intriguing Premier League encounters, and one key game in particular will be a big headline for this upcoming weekend. I am of course talking about the North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham. The game is set to kick off at 4:30 on Sunday, and the game is already causing a bit of a stir before a ball is even kicked, and that is because the PGMOL have decided to select Michael Oliver as the referee, the head official for this particular game, and this has caused a bit of an uproar in certain sections of the Arsenal fan base. We're going to be talking about this news story. We're going to be talking about the PGMOL yet again, referees, Michael Oliver, the game on Sunday, and everything else in between. But before we go any further discussing all of that and much more, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always have very greatly appreciated. And of course, I encourage you all to get involved in this conversation. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it about this topic of conversation down below in the comment section, because I'm sure you have a lot of interesting things to say about it, and I can't wait to read them all. Sound good? Great. Let's get on with the conversation ourselves, and shall we? Let's talk Michael Oliver and why Arsenal are upset by this refereeing appointment. Look, I don't believe in referee conspiracy theories or anything like that. I just personally believe they are all terrible, and they all decide to, well, not maybe decide, but they all maybe subconsciously, consciously, I don't know, decide at one point or another to rob, screw over, cheat another team out of something. I don't think they solely focus on one particular team. I just think they're bad for everybody, these referees. But in this situation, I have to kind of side slightly with Arsenal fans on this. This has been a very awkward week for the PGMOL and for Howard Webb in particular. Especially considering what happened about 8 or 9 days ago in the Liverpool-Manchester City game, where Virgil van Dijk's equaliser was ruled out for offside. Howard Webb went on live TV to defend his referees. He doubled down on their decisions not to overrule the goal, not to have a VAR check or anything along those lines. He said that it was a correct decision to rule out Van Dijk's equaliser. And then a few days later, an independent panel of judges that are like ex-referees, ex-players, ex-pundits, that kind of thing, all clubbed together to determine that it was an incorrect decision. Van Dijk's goal should have stood. An embarrassing moment for the PGMOL, an embarrassing moment for Howard Webb after he so desperately and passionately defended his referees on that day, his officials on that particular evening. Only for them to be proven wrong by an independent panel of judges. It's been a very awkward week. An awkward season. Past few years even, since Howard Webb took charge of the PGMOL, it has been nothing, in my opinion, but a declining standard of refereeing. Horrible usage of VAR and hypocrisy of the highest level. Hypocrisy, double standards of the highest level. It has been a complete train wreck as far as what I'm concerned since Howard Webb took charge of the PGMOL. So considering the awkward week that the PGMOL have had in terms of trying to defend the Virgil van Dijk decision, getting proven to be wrong, How do they go and respond? They respond by putting this guy as the referee for arguably the biggest game this weekend in the Premier League. Arsenal versus Tottenham. The North London Derby. A notorious Premier League classic between two fierce and feisty rivals. This game provides controversial moments. This game provides many a glorious moment, but most of them, above all, it is very likely to produce entertainment. It's very rare that you get a dull North London derby. It could be one of glorious, fantastic moments, or it could be one that is feisty, dirty, challenges flying in aplenty, and it would take a dominant referee to restore order and to keep control of the game. Something that this man, in my opinion, has failed to do in big games that I recently remember. And like I say, after the week the PGMOL have had, you would have probably thought that they would have kept the referees that were on that day, in that moment of the Virgil van Dijk situation, away from this game. Mr. Michael Oliver was in charge of VAR on that day. He was very quick to jump on board and on side with the linesman and referee's decision of no goal. A decision later proven to be wrong. So again, how did the PGMOL respond? They put him in charge of the biggest game this upcoming weekend. Arsenal fans are not happy about this. And why? Because they already hate this guy. Now again, Oliver isn't out just to solely get Arsenal. He's a poor referee, and like most of them, they're inconsistent, and it doesn't matter who the team is. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon that certain Arsenal fans do, and maybe certain fans of other teams do as well, that they think the referees are out to get them and them only. If this was another team, they would get away with it. I'm not on that kind of level. But last season, I believe he was the referee that sent Declan Rice off for tapping the ball away against Brighton in a second bookable offence. He was the referee who sent off Miles Lewis-Skelly in Arsenal's victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers. A decision proven to be wrong days later by the way that an appeal was put in for that straight red card, and it was immediately successful. The 3-match ban never took place. The red card was rescinded. Arsenal fans already hate this guy. They already hate this geezer. And yet, he's now being put in charge of Arsenal versus Tottenham. In a week in which this guy was on VAR for the Liverpool versus Manchester City game, in which Van Dijk's header got chalked off, which would have been an equaliser in that game. In a period of time in which this man is being accused of cheating simply because he was paid to be a Saudi referee by Manchester City's ownership. Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist in this. I'm not saying that he is a cheat. I'm not saying there is an influence there because he was on pretty much the payroll of Manchester City's owners. I'm not saying Arsenal fans are completely right in any of this. But what I am saying is that the PGMOL are not helping themselves in any of this. In any of this. The PGMOL have been radio silent since an independent panel found them to be in the wrong for disallowing Virgil van Dijk's goal. Howard Webb has been radio silent since going on live TV, defending his referees, double downing on their decisions to rule the goal out. They've basically gone, in a very sassy way, well, that's your opinion, we're going to stick with our opinion. There has seemingly been no punishment to any of the referees, VARs, officials on that day that incorrectly ruled the decision out. There doesn't seem to be any repercussions for anybody that makes a wrong decision in the PGMOL anyway. The worst you get is probably a slap on the wrist. You probably miss a week. You might have to, I don't know, take out the bins or something in the office for a day or two. I don't know. But that's probably the worst of it. You don't get punished. There is no signs of improvement. You don't learn from your mistakes. It is simply defending your friends in this business. And yet you appoint a referee for the biggest game in Arsenal season so far, Arsenal versus Tottenham, North London derby. You appoint this man here. Someone who got it wrong on VAR last week. Someone who is being accused of cheating. Someone who is accused of being on the payroll of a potential title rival of Arsenal this season. And you appoint him. And it works both ways, by the way. It works both ways, because as much as I'm saying, like, this could obviously go horribly wrong for Arsenal, it could also go horribly right for them and horribly wrong for Spurs. Because it might play on the referee's mind that if a lot of people are accusing him of cheating before a ball is even kicked, maybe he might overcompensate to a point where he's giving Arsenal a lot of things. Maybe he'll turn up on the day and be favourable and kind to Arsenal. And maybe it's Spurs that will be cheated out in this instance. It's very unlikely that a Michael Oliver game will be refereed fairly and without any sort of controversy. Very unlikely. Not impossible, just unlikely. But the PGMOL are certainly not helping themselves. They really, really don't help themselves. They keep on digging themselves in. And this is why I think right now, this part, it's seemingly too obvious for me that this isn't, they're playing into it. This is not a case of them simply making the decision that they personally believe that Michael Oliver is the most experienced and best referee that they have at their disposal. They genuinely think that, by the way. I get that. I think they're wrong because they're idiots. And not only that as well, but if this is like the highest standard you have of refereeing, then the bar isn't exactly set high to begin with. I know he's probably your most experienced ref, but he's definitely not the best because, well, just look at his past record of the previous few years, at the very least. Like, it's too much of a coincidence every single time this happens for me to go, it's just a coincidence. They've just selected who they think's the best. They've selected the right man for the right job. It's too much. It's too much. I think they're playing into it too much, and I'm completely on board. Because whilst we can have these conversations about how the PGMOL do not have any repercussions for their failures, for their mistakes, no accountability, no responsibility, they just simply move on. They just simply move on and go, right, you're going to be in charge of this game, you're going to be in charge of that game. And we as fans are left scratching our heads going, how can you make that decision? How can there not be any sort of punishment? And if there is any punishment, why are you keeping it secret? we deserve as fans to know that there are repercussions taking place. There are consequences for the wrongdoings of referees, VAR, and the PGMOL as a whole. Because whenever whenever a result goes against a club, that could have major repercussions on certain players. Could have repercussions on a manager, on the club itself. Getting cheated out of a goal that may lead to a point or even 3 points could obviously make a team miss out on climbing higher in the table. The difference between them surviving the Premier League and them being relegated from the Premier League. Gaining Europa League football to gaining Champions League football. Gaining no European football at all to gaining some form of European football. Becoming runners-up to being champions. Those affect these teams. And yet, if something does go wrong, these guys don't get punished. Or at least seemingly don't get punished. It's just wrong, in my opinion. And I think the PGMOL are leaning into it too much to stir the pot, to create conversation, to create controversy, talking points, and once again, to display main character syndrome for these guys. Main character syndrome for these guys. No one is here to watch these guys. We're here to watch the football. We're here to watch our teams, our players, our favourite players. Even when not our favourite team isn't playing, we're there to watch a good, entertaining game of football. And these guys are ruining it. I pray and I hope that he has a good game on Sunday. He lets it flow as best that he can. He referees it to a good high standard. But I doubt it. And that's why I share the concerns of Arsenal fans that heard this news that Michael Oliver is to officiate the game on Sunday. And I too am concerned. And I'm concerned not just for Arsenal, but for Tottenham as well. I'm concerned for the integrity of the Premier League. I'm concerned for the integrity of football. I'm concerned for England's top flight division as a whole, because it is being overshadowed by referees, VAR, and the PGMOL, and by the head of that organisation, Mr. Howard Webb. Anyway, those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys are thinking and feeling. Let me know in the comments section what you make about this topic of conversation. Your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, will make for great and interesting reading, I'm sure. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new and want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see and speak with you all again soon in another video, or live stream, or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.